Hello, everyone. It's Brian Underwood. Just in time to give you just a couple quick thoughts to make you think about roller coasters. Do you like roller coasters? That is the question. As I was a kid, time I was 5 years old, we were constantly going to Kings Island in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'd ride roller coasters. I learned to love roller coasters. And, I think business and sometimes our path or our journey to success, we have to ask ourselves, how do we compare to a roller coaster? And the reason I'm saying that is that for a lot of us, we go through our business life as a roller coaster or a yo-yo, right? We're constantly up and down. And I think one of the things that it's important for all of us to understand is that if you want a secret to success, if you want something that can jolt you into performing at a higher level, it's this one lesson that I learned, right? And I want you all just to think about the general public, people that all around the world. Everyone that we know lives in a box, and we want to call that box me or call that box mediocrity or medium. We all have our own median, right? We all have this box of comfort that we live in, no matter what level that we're at. And I want you to imagine a box and put yourself inside of that box and then draw an imaginary line across from that box. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think if you get this one illustration and you understand that most everyone in the world, they will do anything to avoid what that imaginary line represents. And that imaginary line represents humiliation and embarrassment. And my point by saying that is sometimes when we get comfortable inside of our box, and if you just think about the world today, everything is made up of a box, right? We wake up in a box, we go downstairs, we eat from a box, we go get in a box, we drive to our box, and we sit down at a box, we look at a box, and then we text from our box, and then we get back in our box, and then we go back to the house to park our box in a box, and then we walk inside and we change, and then we go sit on a box to watch another box. My point being is that you have to get out of this box mentality, and you have to quit living your life like a roller coaster, because when you're in this box, everything's comfortable. The minute you step outside of that box is the minute you expose yourself to the rest of the world or to your peer group or the people around you. It's when you're exposed to becoming humiliated, embarrassed. Because when you're in that box, you have a certain group of people that you feel comfortable with. However, this one lesson literally shifted my perspective forever. And I had someone ask me, what do the wealthiest 1% of the people in the world do? How do they live? And they live at this whole higher level. So above that box, if you go way up, there's this level that the top 1% live at. And they're the wealthiest 1% of the people in the world. However, what happens is they insulate themselves from crisis. They insulate themselves from everything. And he said, do you know why this is? Do you know why they make the money that they make? Do you know why they control the wealth? And I said, no. He said, because they don't live their life like a roller coaster. And what happens is we get inspired, we listen to a thought leader or all these influencers today, and we start thinking the way that the top 1% of the world think, right? Until, remember, because that's outside of our box, until our peer group or someone tries to shame us back down to our box. Who do you think you are? Oh, that stuff doesn't work. What are you doing? And then what happens is we don't go back to our box. We fall way below that imaginary line, right? We become deflated and defeated, and it might take us months just to get back to that place that we were before. And he said this. He said, listen, the reason that they have the most wealth in the world has nothing to do with their talent. It has everything to do with their mindset. He said, if you want to make more, you got to become more. Their mindset is what insulated them. There's nothing that distracts them from their inspired action each and every day. And that's what has helped insulate them from the rest of the world. They insulate them from other people's opinions, from the critics, because they're focused on exactly where they're going. And so the point of that is when you start thinking the way that they think and operating the way that they operate, you'll start generating what they generate, right? So if you want to make more, you got to become more. You got to do more. And that'll give you the ability to experience more. And there's no way that you can do it unless you're willing to get outside of that box, right? And what's amazing is every time you get outside that box, you're going to have people try to pull you back down. And you have to have the emotional intelligence, you have to have the strength not to let that defeat you, right? However, you have to expect it coming, and you have to insulate yourself, kind of like the rhino mentality with 3-inch thick skin, that you know where you're going, you know why you're going that direction, and you have to keep pursuing whatever it is that gives you joy with inspired action, no matter what happens in the world or what happens in your life, with the exception of having to take care of a priority with a family member. And so remember, don't live your life like a roller coaster and be an emotional high and an emotional low, an emotional high and emotional low. Emotionally, you have to be steady and have to be focused. So if you want to make more, become more. We'll talk to you guys soon.